The Basilica of Saint-Denis, also known as the Basilique Cathédrale de Saint-Denis. The Basilica of Saint-Denis is located in the suburbs outside of Paris, France. It is built on a site where the remains of Saint Denis, the first bishop of Paris, are believed to be buried. The history of the site and the structures go back to the late Roman period. The original structure is no longer there, and the current basilica has undergone many renovations and additions over the centuries. It is known for its late Romanesque and later Gothic styles. In addition to the history of the site related to St. Denis, it quickly became an important mausoleum for Frankish kings from the Merovingian and Carolingian dynasties through to later French kings, queens, and nobles. These tombs are covered in what is known as a recumbent effigy, which recumbent means lying down pose, as can be seen in the picture to the left. The original abbey church was designated a basilica during the Merovingian period. A basilica was an architectural style used by the Romans for public buildings, as can be seen in the image below. Early Christians adopted these same styles for their churches, and the term basilica came into common usage for churches of cultural significance. The Basilica of Saint-Denis is properly known as a basilica cathedral. The term cathedral is a designation for any Catholic church that is the primary seat of a bishop. Technically, this refers to the bishop's throne, or from Latin, cathedra. The site where the basilica now stands has a long history. It was an early Romano-Gallic cemetery known as Catuliacus. It was known for many pre-Christian and early Christian burials. According to early accounts, the body of St. Denis was buried here, and later, a local noblewoman named Genevieve, who would later become Sainte Genevieve, purchased the site and built a small church named Saint-Denis de la Chapelle. The life of Saint Genevieve was written at the request of Genevieve's close friend, Saint Clotilde, who was the wife of Clovis. It was written between 520 and 530 CE, about 20 or so years after Genevieve's death. This document provides most of what is known of Genevieve's life and activities. She was born around 420 and died in 500 CE. According to the life of Saint Genevieve, Saint Denis was a bishop of Paris who was beheaded by the Romans. According to legends, after being beheaded, Saint Denis picked up his own head and walked back to his birthplace, indicating where he wished to be buried. The same legend states that he preached to others during this trip home. Many images of Saint Denis show him holding his severed head, including many images and sculptures of him at the Basilica of Saint Denis, like the one on the lower right. A shrine developed on his burial site around 313 CE, followed later by the chapel, according to Saint Genevieve. In 632 CE, Dagobert I, who was king of the Franks from 628 to 637, transformed the church into the Abbey of Saint Denis, a Benedictine abbey that was known as one of the most glorious abbeys in all of Gaul. However, it was under Abbot Suger, the chief religious figure of Saint Denis, during the early part of the 12th century, that the basilica reached new heights. Considered the first church to use Gothic elements, Suger transformed and expanded upon the existing structure, incorporating what will become classic Gothic motifs and architectural styles, including the west facade. According to the Society of Architectural Historians, the renovation of the basilica occurred between 1137 and 1144, and Suger meticulously documented the process. His text is one of the most important sources for understanding this process during the Middle Ages. In the image on the left, one can see the flying buttresses on the outside of the basilica, which are an important element of Gothic architecture. The image on the right shows the upper interior view. Stained glass became a prominent feature of the Gothic style as it allowed light to come into the structure. On the far left is an image of the west facade. The middle and far right images show the vaulted ceilings of the basilica, also classical elements of Gothic architecture.